Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com. This video is intended to be a helpful guide for those who are new to buying skis. Maybe you're brand new to the sport of skiing, maybe you've been renting, maybe you haven't bought gear in like 25 years and you don't ski that often and you're unfamiliar with new equipment. Regardless of your situation, it can be kind of overwhelming when you're sifting through all the different options out there, and we really wanted to try and make as helpful of a video as we could for those who are feeling a little bit overwhelmed. Here at Ski Essentials, we sell tons of different skis. We sell Stokely skis that are $1,600, but we also really pride ourselves in kind of making these complete ski packages, and that's what we're going to look at as some examples today. So these are very affordable packages that include skis, boots, bindings, and poles, essentially kind of like the four main pieces of equipment that you need to go skiing. Obviously you need outerwear and gloves and stuff like that, but you know, if you're going to a rental shop, these are the things that in theory you would be renting at a rental shop. So we'll look at some of those in a little bit. I basically organized it into 3 different price tiers, and I think that's a really good way to look at these different options. And speaking of price tiers, there's kind of, in my opinion, when you're looking through all the options of different skis, using price as an indicator as well as ski width is a really good place to start. So ski performance or skis in general are somewhat unique compared to most of the things that we spend money on. So like we were trying to come up with some examples, and it's almost harder to think of something that's not an example, but if you think of cars or mountain bikes or cell phones, or like I liked the analogy of toaster ovens or like washing machines or anything like that. The more money that you spend, you're gonna have a better experience with that product. And that is just not true with skis. So when you're looking through different ski options, if you're a brand new skier, if you're a true beginner skier, the cheaper skis are actually going to be better for you than like really expensive skis, because they get stiffer and they get heavier and they're harder to control if you don't have the correct technique. So look at that price and use it as a guide to kind of match the skis to where you are. And as we go through, you'll see what I mean. And then the other thing, ski width, that's a huge indicator. Generally, at this point, most skis in their title have a number, and that number is almost always an indicator of their width underfoot. So over here we have a 7.2. That ski is 72 millimeters underfoot. Over here we've got a stance 80. That is 80 millimeters underfoot. In general, the narrower the ski is, the better they're going to be for groomed conditions. Better is an interesting word because you could make an argument that some of these skis that are wider are better, but for a new skier, the narrower skis are physically going to be easier to tip up on edge and are going to help promote progression. You're going to get better quicker on a narrower ski. So price and ski width can be two like really, really good indicators of just quickly like, is this ski going to work for me, or maybe it's not going to work for me. A couple other things before we get into the skis themselves. Know your boot size. That sounds obvious, but ski boot size can be confusing to some. We have a size guide on our website. If you scroll to the bottom of any page, you'll see a link to a size guide. My big piece of advice with ski boot sizes is if you're converting off your, say, US shoe size, if you are the type of person that wears 2 different sizes, go with the smaller size. So for example, for casual shoes, I generally wear an 8. I prefer running in a 7.5. So if I were to convert my shoe size to ski boot size, I would go off that 7.5. Also, when you get the gear and you try your boots on initially, if you're not used to ski boots, they're gonna feel weird. We have a whole video that I did in like 2018 that goes through the process of putting on a ski boot the correct way, essentially. And if you haven't seen that, if you go to the written article of this guide, we embedded that video there. So take a look at that, and don't panic. You know, ski boots can feel just like a little bit overwhelming right at first. And then lastly, know your ski length. You know, when you're looking through these products, if you find something that's right for you and then you start looking into the length options and realize that your length isn't available, that can be kind of frustrating. So if you just know your ski length right off the bat, that's going to be hugely helpful. In general, most people's skis are going to be, say, somewhere between their eyebrows and their chin. I would, in general, recommend going shorter if you're a new skier. And then there are some other variables that can play into it. Like if you're a heavier skier, then you might want to go a little bit longer. And then alternatively, if you're really lightweight, you could go shorter. And generally, again, on our website, we have like a size indicator or a length indicator based on height, and you're going to see a range. And you can kind of go up and down in that range based on the things that I was just talking about. Take this stance 80 right here. This is a 177, and you know that's kind of, if I were a new skier, that's max length in my opinion, and really I think it would be better to go a little shorter if you're a new skier. So familiarize yourself with both your boot size and your ski size, and that's going to help a lot just in the long run. So we're going to run through some of these skis quickly. I don't want to go too in depth. I really just want these to be examples and a guide of other things that you're going to look at. We have like 40 something complete ski packages for adults on our website, and I think we have I didn't even count. We have nine up here. So obviously this is just an example, but hopefully with the things that we just talked about and with these examples, you can take that knowledge and really use it as a tool to kind of sift through all the options out there. So a couple of skis to start. This Blizzard Thunderbird 7.2, and then we've also got a Rossignol Experience 76. These and as well as this Blaze 82, these are in kind of the first price tier that I'm looking at here today. They're all $450 or less, including bindings. So like the prices are crazy for this stuff. Like it's really the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to think about it in relation to renting. I just looked up the price of renting skis at Stowe, which is our home mountain. We're based here in Stowe, Vermont, and it's $100 a day, which I didn't realize that it was that expensive, but you know, do the math, 4 days of renting, and you could afford your own gear. I think a lot of people think of rental shops as being very convenient, and they can be, you know, if you're traveling, you don't have to deal with traveling with your gear, but they can also not be very convenient. I've worked in several rental shops, and I have seen with my own eyes just how long rental lines can be, and just the process can be kind of hectic sometimes. So owning your own gear is nice. And these skis are kind of on the narrower side. So 72 underfoot, 76 underfoot, they're going to be really, really good on groomed slopes. Most beginner skiers are going to be spending most of their time on groomed slopes. So skis like this, like I was saying before, are very, very easy to control. If you're coming off rental skis straight into this stuff, or if you're brand new to skiing, there's not a huge reason to overthink options like this. You know, stick with the affordable stuff, save yourself some money for other gear. You're probably still shopping for helmet or goggles and that kind of stuff. There's absolutely nothing wrong with just sticking right here in these narrower, very affordable options. Now, I think this one is pretty interesting. The other ski that I brought up here, and this is pretty unique in my opinion, to find a ski like this in this price. This is the Vocal Blaze 82. This ski, we still have a complete package at $450, but this ski is getting wider. So, we're quite a bit wider. We're 82 underfoot now. There's also got some rocker or some early rise in the front of the ski. It makes it a little bit better in softer snow, but it might not be better for you. If you are truly coming off those rental skis or brand new to skiing, you're gonna be on green circle groomed slopes like basically 100% of the time, at least for a while. And those skis are arguably better for most skiers. Now, this is a great option if you've been renting for a while, you know what those skis feel like, and you want to start going into some softer snow conditions. You want to start exploring, you want to start kind of opening up some boundaries or some new potentials of your ski day, then the Blaze 82 is great. But don't just feel like it's going to be just black and white better because it's wider. That is often going to be not the case. But 3 great options, like $450 for this ski and a binding and a boot and poles is wild. And to look at some boots here, we're not going to look at all the boots, but I did bring them. So, these first 2 skis over here comes with a Technica Mach Sport HV. Very, very comfortable boot. It's not going to be the highest performing boot in the world, but really what you need as a new skier is comfort and ease of use, and that's exactly what this is. This Rossignol, I knew we would knock skis over at some point. This Rossignol, oh, that's because it's sitting on the boot. Gets a Nordica Cruise S, very, very similar. And those are kind of great examples of the start of our boot offerings. And we really won't see anything substantially different until we get down here to the end. So first price tier, $450 or less. Don't overthink it. Those are really, really good options. And then moving into kind of the second price tier here, which is basically these middle 5 skis, we start to see some variety. So all of these skis are in between $600 and $700. I think it tops out at like $660 or something in that range. So we are $150 to $200 more than where we started, which is a substantial amount of money. That's a decent amount of money. So, if you don't need these things, that's why it may be beneficial to just stay over there where things are less expensive. But there are some benefits here. So first up, we've got this Fischer RC Fire, and then we've got a Nordica Wild Bell 74. These are both still pretty darn narrow. Their shape is very similar to the first 2 skis we've looked at. 73, yeah, the Fischer doesn't have it in the name there like most of them do, like I was saying, but still really, really good on groomers. Very easy to tip up on edge, just the physics of how skis work, they're gonna be easy to control. The difference here, or the benefit rather, is these skis both use kind of denser wood. They both use a mix of beech and poplar in their construction, which are wood types that we see in really expensive skis too. So what happens with denser wood is you get a slightly stiffer flex pattern, and that's going to be just better and more willing to perform at speed. So it's kind of a similar conversation as when we were talking about this Blaze 82, but in this sense, it's more like you've skied things like this, or you've skied rental skis, and you already feel like you're skiing, kind of out skiing them, but more from a speed perspective and less from a terrain perspective or a snow conditions perspective. So if you're still mostly on those groomers, that's where you're spending most of your time, but you're starting to ski a little bit faster, it can be worth kind of bumping up to skis like this. Then we've got 2. Actually, before we get to those, we'll talk about this Dynastar M-Cross 78, because I think this is a really cool ski. And 78 here, we're still relatively narrow, but what's happening here is we start to see kind of some more interesting shaping. So similar to the Blaze 82 that we looked at over there, this ski has some early rocker or some early rise to the tip, as well as some taper. So these things are intended to increase performance in soft snow, in variable snow, in ungroomed situations. The M-Cross, to me, is great because it still retains some really nice performance on a groomer, too. I would say it outperforms that Blaze 82 on a groomer and responsiveness, but is still a great option if you're kind of looking to expand your horizons a little bit and just venture into different terrain and different conditions. And then the two skis in the middle here, on my right, we've got the Armada ARV 84. On my left, we've got the Atomic Maven 84, which is a women's model. And these skis, 84 underfoot, that's the widest thing that we've looked at so far. So especially this Maven, with its shaping and with its intention, its design, it's going to be even more of a versatile all-mountain ski. So if you want to start skiing some trees, skiing some moguls, like exploring ungroomed terrain, that ski is awesome, and that mid-80 range is a great place to be. You could say the same about this Armada ARV 84. The interesting thing with this ski is this is the first true twin tip that we've looked at so far. So if you're, again, relatively new to skiing, but you want to start dabbling in some terrain park skiing, a lot of kids end up on this ski. A lot of young teenagers end up on this ski. They've seen pro skiers out on twin tips. They've probably seen them on Armada twin tips. This is a great ski for kind of entering that part of skiing, that segment of skiing. But they're still really fun as all mountain skis too. So, both of these skis aren't going to be as easy to control on a groomer for a beginner skier, but they're starting to open up new possibilities and new capabilities that, not that you can't do it on some of these narrower skis, but they're going to make it a little bit more challenging. And then moving into the last price tier that we're going to look at, these last three skis over here are all in the mid $700 range. So, it's not twice as much as what we started with over here, but $300 is, again, that's a lot of money. And if you don't need that performance, then there's no reason that you shouldn't just stay over here into some of these less expensive options. So first ski we'll look at, this is a Bent 85. This is very similar to this ARV 84. I would say the Bent maybe ticks up the performance a little bit. This ski is also extremely durable. Atomic goes to great lengths to make these as durable and long-lasting as they can. But again, another one that's really, really fun, both as an all-mountain ski and for somebody who is looking to venture into the terrain park a little bit. And then these Stance 80s, to me, are really starting to be a slight different thing than really anything else that we've looked at so far. So these are both 80 underfoot. They borrow technology and design, like shaping concepts, from much more expensive, not much wider, but wider stance models, particularly the 90, the 96, and the 102. Those are all pretty burly skis, or really advanced, expert-oriented skis. A ton of that technology trickles down into the Stance 80, both for men and women. There is a single sheet of Titanal in these skis. There's carbon in these skis. There really is a lot of technology, and that does tick up the performance quite a bit. But again, if you're a beginner skier and you don't need this stuff, then don't overthink it. But for those that are really starting to get in the sport, get their feet wet, they're really having a fun time out on the slopes, and they want to step up the performance while still staying in a really affordable package, it kind of blows my mind that you can get a ski like this with a boot, with a binding, and with poles for $750. Like, that's just a lot. There's a lot of skis out there that are $750 on their own without bindings, and then add in boots and poles, and you're spending well into the thousands. So to get a ski with a lot of impressive performance, the metal is going to help at speed. The width is going to help off trail. This is that ski where I was kind of alluding to at the beginning that you could make an argument that this is better on a groomer than skis over there. And I wouldn't argue against you. I would just remind you that that's only going to be true for a certain level skier who's starting to ski faster, who's comfortable getting their skis up on an edge angle and all those things. So really, really cool. And then I wanted to look, you know, we're up in this $750 range. And this is where we start to see a pretty significant increase in just overall boot quality and then I would say performance as well. So this is a Lang LX85. This is the women's boot that comes with this ski right behind me, which is a snazzy combination. And then the men essentially get the same boot. This is the LX90. So they're going to fit a little bit more precise. They're still very comfortable and very generous fits, but a little stiffer flex pattern, a little bit more support, going to work better for somebody who is skiing faster, is trying new terrain, and is starting to ask more out of their equipment. So that's it. That was quick, I hope. Actually, I have no idea how long that was. My intention was to keep this quick. I completely understand if this, you know, maybe you watched the intro to this video and you didn't think it was for you. And that might very well be true. If you're an experienced avid skier, then you know all this stuff and you don't need my help, at least to choose a package like this. But maybe you know somebody who would. You know, maybe you've got a friend who's new to skiing and they're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. It would mean a lot to me if you could share this video with them. So that's it. I'm going to leave it there. Let us know if you have any questions. You can leave a comment on this video or a comment on the article itself. And you're always welcome to kind of ping our customer service team and ask for help, because that's what we're here for. We want to make sure that people get on the right equipment for you. We want to sell skis, but we want to sell the right skis. You know, I have no interest in selling skis just for the number of skis sold. I want people to have the best possible time that they can on snow. So let us know if you have any questions, and we will talk to you soon.